Well, welcome everybody. Today is Tuesday, August 18th, and it's the monthly meeting of the Latino Chamber Committee. It is sponsored by the San Mateo Area Chamber of Commerce. And today, unfortunately, Elizabeth Ficar, our chair, is unavailable. She had a death in the family. But representing the committee is Maria Beretta.
Hi, everyone.
Our speaker today is Ginelle Curincita. She's the Community Development Officer with Working Solutions. So I'll let her tell us all about her business. And we've got a couple people online. If you have questions, please put them in the chat. And we should have time for a little bit of a Q&A after Ginelle's presentation. So take it away, Ginelle. You're welcome to share your screen if you like.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me this afternoon. My goal is to be able to provide you guys with some information in regards to other loan options that are safe and affordable alternatives to the SBA and the PPP options that are out there right now. I grew up in San Mateo County, in Redwood City actually, and so I'm really glad to be able to present to you all and make sure that this information is widespread and that, you know, as many business owners as possible have access to this, this loan information and the resources I'm going to share this afternoon. So with that, I will go ahead and get started. So Working Solutions has actually been around for over 20 years. Where our headquarters are in San Francisco. And we're a nonprofit actually. So we're a part of the CDFI Community Development Financial Institution. So we're a little bit different than some of the other or the traditional lenders that most think of. One of the reasons is because we are funding startup businesses. So unlike most banks that have other very stringent requirements, we're actually able to support the entrepreneur who wants to start and really launch something. So we are proud to be the first to believe in small businesses in the Bay Area. One of the requirements is that the business operate in one of the 9 counties of the Bay Area. So if you are located as north as Sonoma or as south as, you know, the furthest city in Santa Clara County, you're good to go. So I included here just a map. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly which county, especially because we can't go further east. So this gives you a little bit of a visual for that. As I was mentioning before, we are a certified CDFI. We're also an SBA preferred micro lender. So if you were to go on to the SBA lending match, which I do recommend anyone go on the main SBA website, you'll find us actually as a preferred micro lender. And so please do, you know, feel free to recommend us that way as well. Like I mentioned earlier, we focus on startup and early stage businesses. So we're very, very proud actually to be able to provide affordable capital that's really, you know, connected to kind of our community, keeping our community strong and our business ecosystem strong as well. We also provide customized business consulting, and I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like a little bit later. So at Working Solutions, our microloans are $5,000 to $50,000. So an entrepreneur can borrow anywhere in between the $5,000 to $50,000, and that's why we call ourselves a micro lender. There are other community lenders that are CDFIs that are also SBA preferred lenders that actually offer loans that are a lot larger. We really are just in the niche of $5,000 to $50,000. We also have an emergency recovery loan program, which I'll go over a little bit later. And we are often administering small business grants. So many city entities will come to us and say, hey, you know, we have these grants that we'd like to administer to the city of Albany or the city of Oakland, which are actually really common ones that we've done just recently. And we'll administer those as well. And then again, our free business consulting. So our loan terms are up to 5 years. So for our smaller loans, 5,000, the loan term would be a 3-year repayment option. Our interest rates are fixed. So traditionally prior to COVID, our interest rates were 9 to 11, and we still do have our standard loan option available. But given COVID, we've decided to offer what we're calling an emergency recovery loan product. And that's for any business that's been impacted by COVID. So if you've been negatively impacted, the application process and the review will be completely the same. But we do have a lower 5% fixed interest rate option currently. Unlike other lenders, we don't require a particular credit score. We don't have a minimum. And the reason for that is that we're actually trying to reach entrepreneurs who, don't have that perfect credit score, but we want to help improve that. We'll be reporting every on-time payment for the person's personal credit and also their business credit. And so the effort is to really help them improve their credit score. We don't need kind of a minimum, but we do want to make sure that nothing is in collections. And we absolutely accept, documentation around payment plans or any other kind of documentation that supports good credit standing with different lenders. So it doesn't matter if you don't have the perfect credit score, we're willing to work with you and really figure out how do we best support you. We have no requirement for collateral and also no minimum revenue required as well. And that's both for a startup business and an existing business. So for our recovery loan product, we're going to be offering a flex repayment option. We know that things are hard right now and they're also unprecedented and unpredictable. So we're really trying to work with business owners to offer a repayment plan that might be interest only at first. And then as things kind of progress and move forward after 6 months or a year, depending on how things move along, we'll go ahead and do an interest and principal payment. We also have no prepayment penalties. I always recommend everyone really make sure to ask those questions. Is there a prepayment penalty? Sometimes we don't know to ask, and it can actually be a very high prepayment charge. So in our case, we actually don't have that. Once a business is eligible for the recovery loan product, like I said, we'll be reviewing everybody the same. All applicants apply through the same process, same required documents, same application process. They're pretty much notified at the end if they qualify for the recovery loan product. Their application fee will be waived as well, and there's a reduced closing cost fee. So it's really, the goal is really to help people during this difficult time. Some of the required documents, I included this list. It looks a little scary and it's actually really hard to read, but what I really want to emphasize is that for example, a $5,000 loan, you're gonna actually have a lot less documents to submit. So depending on the loan size, we'll ask for additional documents. One of the things to note is that our loans are, they are personal guarantee. And what that means is that we would need information, financial information for your personal accounts as well as your business account. So we're going to be looking at both. In addition to that, if there is another owner that owns, more than 20% of the loan, then it will also be required to submit all of the similar documents as the co-owner. Everything from, a business plan is always helpful, and it's actually really, really helpful if you're going to be initiating a business and you have a startup business. But for the most part, it'll be 3 months of bank statements, tax returns, usually 1 to 2 years of tax returns, all legal documents for the business. We also work with ITIN holders. So if anyone has an ITIN number, we're absolutely able to work with them as well. And if there are some documents that they're not able to provide, like someone who has, a social security number, we have some alternative options as far as required documents. So please do know that that's an option as well. So one of the things that I'm really proud that we're able to offer is free business consulting. So, not only are we able to offer the capital that a business owner needs, but also kind of consulting before the loan and then consulting during the term of the loan. So if it's a 5-year term, the client would receive 5 years of business consulting, which I think is really, really important. Things around risk management right now come in handy. Sales and marketing is another area that we focus on, as well as financial planning. So that's all complementary to the business owner with a loan at Working Solutions. We're very, very proud to share some of these data points because we know that businesses, for example, after 5 years, don't end up making it. And so for a client at Working Solutions, they actually have 85% success rate after 5 years. A lot of other lenders will look at us and say, it's pretty risky, right? How are you lending to a startup business? We're also proud to say that 95% of our businesses are successfully, making repayments and covering their loan costs. In addition to that, because of the capital at Working Solutions, a lot of jobs are created in our communities. Business owners actually have the funds to bring on additional help and hire. And so we also calculate and collect that information and data because we really do think it's really important. So I wanted to leave some room for questions. It is on Zoom. And I know there's a chat feature that sometimes is another way to ask some questions. So
I wanted to ask a question specifically about the slide that you said you had a lot of information. I was under the impression that most of the loans that you guys offer are business, but you also do have an option for personal loans as well, right?
So they're all business loans. However, there's a personal guarantee from the owner that no matter what happens with the business, and because of that, we're going to be reviewing their personal financials as well as if it's an existing business, their business financials as well.
That makes a lot of sense. And then another question, where do you get your funding?
Sure, absolutely. Our funding comes actually, not only do we borrow funds to be able to lend out, but also from a lot of the big banks. We have a great development director who is constantly applying for funds at a lot of the big banks actually that can't really work with small businesses. They're working with the larger businesses and their business products. And so they really lean on us to be able to do that work.
Okay.
I also wanted to share with the required document list, what will happen is when a business owner applies or expresses interest, for example, in a loan, we'll make sure that they have all of those lists of documents up front so that they're able to prepare and really get a sense of, okay, what's going to be required. Sometimes people don't have some of those documents and that can actually stop the process. So I always encourage everyone to get what I call loan ready and make sure that everything is in order before they really start the process and initiate an application.
Yeah, and then, let's say that you have a business that actually is loan ready. They get all the documentation that is required. What is the timeline from the time that they submit their application with the documentation to the approval?
Sure, it's usually a 4 to 6 week turnaround period. We do everything electronically. Even prior to COVID, everything very much streamlined for years now. So from the minute the application to all of the required documents are actually collected through box.com. We don't do email document sending just because of the confidentiality of everything.
Right.
Even throughout the end of the process, once a business owner is approved and they, sign their loan docs, all of that is online through HelloSign. And then once the funds get approved, they actually go directly into an account of the business owner's choice. directly deposited. So there's kind of no in-person need to do any of it.
And then, so once the business is up and running and they're starting to tap into the funds, I am assuming, do they write a check back to you, or do they just do electronic payments? How does that work?
Yep, electronic payments. So they'll let us know which account they would like to do their automatic withdrawing of the payment, and that's it. And they actually also don't have to report. So for example, there are some community lenders that will cut the business owner a check for buying the commercial refrigerator, for example, or different things that they're going to be using the capital for. In our case, I think we do such a really good job of analysis at the beginning of the financials and the administration of funds for a business owner that we just do an automatic deposit of those funds, and the business owner uses them for their business as they,
as they need to. Yeah, I saw a question.
So would you like to stop sharing?
Sure.
Then we can see everybody.
Yeah, there was a question in the chat about maximum, and I believe that you answered it during the presentation. It is a 50K maximum, correct?
Correct. And the other thing is, a lot of our business owners actually come back. So say, for example, they got a $50,000 loan over the course of, 2.5 years, they've paid back half of that loan, 25,000. They can actually come back and ask for the additional 25,000. We can never lend more than 50, but we can offer a second or a third loan to the same.
Okay. Yeah. So if they're looking for an additional 25K because they want to expand, or they have to buy equipment, whatever the case may be, as long as it's not over 50K, they can borrow additional funds. Same process as before though, right? I mean, the same documentation, or would you say, yeah?
Same process. We'll look at their most current financials at that point, and that's kind of what we'll assess. And then we also do have other partners that offer, larger loan amounts. And so if we do, work with the client and find that they actually need, 250,000 now, then we're going to go ahead and make that referral over so that they're able to access the funds, especially if they're growing, at an accelerated rate. We want to make sure that they're sustainable long term.
Okay, that's good. Good to know.
Great. Galaxy, the screen name Galaxy, who is that?
They're muted, so.
Okay. Yes.
Welcome.
Just wanted to make sure we have you, on our email list if you want to get the replay information. I don't know who to send it to.
The other thing is, on our website, we have a COVID resource section. And so our communications team is updating that almost, I want to say, by the hour. It feels like there's so many resources that, come out every single day. And so not only do we have a calendar of other alternative webinar options, but we also have a section on grants that I also highly recommend. And so please feel free, workingsolutions.org.
Yeah, thank you so much for that information. We'll definitely be referring not only your presentation, but also the website so that people can visit. I know I actually invited a few people who are small business owners to join us today, but unfortunately, as it happens, sometimes people are busy at this time.
Absolutely. I also do speak Spanish. So if there are any business owners out there that or that are on this call, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to go over this process in Spanish and answer any specific questions as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ginelle. Really appreciate it. I don't have any more questions. Pauline, do you?
No, actually, I do not have any more questions.
Ginelle, thank you so much for your presentation. Like before, it's great. Like I said, it's always good to watch it a second time because you can always pick up a few more details. I actually had more questions today than last time, so I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. Thank you all for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I will definitely be sharing this information with some people that I know that definitely should have been on the call today. I think that they will benefit from this information.
Absolutely. And on Thursday, I'll be part of a Spanish presentation for Working Solutions. It will also be recorded in live, so I'm happy to pass that information along as well.
Great.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That wraps it up for tonight. We finish in half an hour. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Bye, Ginelle.
Bye-bye.